Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 15, texts 12 and 13. Text 12. Yasyadhvare bhagavanadhvaratma magho nimadya tyurusomapithe Shraddha Vishuddha Chala Bhakti Yoga Samarpitejya Phalamajahara. Yasya, of whom, King Gaya, Adhvare, in his different sacrifices, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adhvara Atma, the Supreme Enjoyer of all sacrifices, the Yajna Purusha, Maghoni, when King Indra, Madhyati, intoxicated, Uru, greatly, Somapithe, drinking the intoxicant called Soma, Shraddha, by devotion, Vishuddha, purified, Achala, and steady, Bhakti Yoga, by devotional service, Samarpita, offered, Ijya, of worshipping, Phalam, the result, Ajahara, accepted personally. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In Maharaj Gaya's sacrifices, there was a great supply of the intoxicant known as Soma. King Indra used to come and become intoxicated by drinking large quantities of Somarasa. Also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Yajna Purusha, also came and personally accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him with pure and firm devotion in the sacrificial arena. Please repeat. In Maharaj Gaya's sacrifices, there was a great supply of the intoxicant known as Soma. King Indra used to come and become intoxicated by drinking large quantities of Somarasa. Also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Yajna Purusha, also came and personally accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him with pure and firm devotion in the sacrificial arena. Purport. Maharaj Gaya was so perfect that he satisfied all the demigods who were headed by the heavenly King Indra. Lord Vishnu himself also personally came to the sacrificial arena to accept the offerings. Although Maharaj Gaya did not want them, he received all the blessings of the demigods and the Supreme Lord himself. Text 13. Yat prenanat barhishi devatiriyam manushya virutranamavirincha priyeta sadyah saha vishvajiva prita swayam pritimagadgayasya. Yat prenanat, because of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, barhishi, in the sacrificial arena, devatiryak, the demigods and the lower animals, Manushya, human society, Virut, the plants and trees, Trinam, the grass, Avirinchat, beginning from Lord Brahma, Priyeta, becomes satisfied, Sadhyaha, immediately, Saha, that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ha, indeed, Vishwajivaha, maintains the living entities all over the universe, Pritaha, although naturally satisfied, Swayam, personally, Pritim, satisfaction, Agat, he obtained, Gayasya, of Maharaj Gaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. When the Supreme Lord is pleased by a person's actions, Automatically, all the demigods, human beings, animals, birds, bees, creepers, trees, grass, and all other living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma, are pleased. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul of everyone, and he is by nature fully pleased. Nonetheless, he came to the arena of Maharaj Gaya and said, I am fully pleased. Purport. It is explicitly stated herein that simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies the demigods and all other living entities without differentiation. If one pours water on the root of a tree, all the branches, twigs, flowers, and leaves are nourished. Although the Supreme Lord is self-satisfied, he was so pleased with the behavior of Maharaj Gaya that he personally came to the sacrificial arena and said, I am fully satisfied. Who can compare to Maharaj Gaya? Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Maharaj Gaya, his greatness is being described, and the key point here is, here it is said in the 13th verse, Yat Prinanat. What is that sound? Yat Prinanat means when he is satisfied. When Krishna is satisfied or Vishnu is satisfied, then Barhish Devatiriyam Manushya Viru Trinamavirincha Priyeta Sadhyaha Sahavishvajiva Prita Swayam Priti Magadgayasya. So, Yat Prinanat, by satisfying the Supreme Lord, he has satisfied all classes of living beings. Here it is said, especially the demigods, the human beings, animals, birds, bees, creepers, trees, grass, and all other living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma, are pleased. So we have heard many times that when we satisfy Krishna, everybody is satisfied. And we have a few verses on that. Srimad Bhagavatam 4:31-14. Yatha tarormula nishechanena tripyanti tatskandha bhujokashakha प्राणोपहाराच्चयथेन्द्रियाणां तथैव सर्वार्हणमच्युतेज्या. As pouring water on the root of a tree energizes the trunk, branches, twigs, and everything else, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, simply worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead through devotional service automatically satisfies the demigods who are parts of that Supreme Personality. Here it is mentioned here in the translation as demigods, but here sarva means everyone actually. Sarva arhanam. Sometimes there are certain philanthropists who say that we should serve everyone. They say love all, serve all, or service to man is service to God. So that is not according to Shastra. In fact, there was an argument. Prabhupada was asked, not asked actually, somebody said to Prabhupada that uh, Manav Seva is Madhav Seva. If we serve humanity, then we serve God. Then Prabhupada said, if Manava Seva is Madhav Seva, then Madhav Seva is Manav Seva. If A equals B, then B equals A. But the problem is you cannot serve all Manava. You cannot serve all human beings. And even if you do, there are so many other species. So even if you say that if you satisfy all human beings, then you satisfy God. But you cannot satisfy all human beings. It's impossible. How can all 8 billion people be satisfied? You just can't. So what is the alternative? If Madhav Seva, if one does service to Madhava or Krishna, then automatically all the humanity is satisfied. And you just need to satisfy one person. And that is possible. We cannot satisfy everyone, but we can satisfy one person, Krishna. Because Krishna says how he is to be satisfied. And if we just follow, then we can satisfy him. And once he is satisfied, the whole world will be satisfied. So this is more effective. So Prabhupada said, my method is better because just by serving one person, I can serve everyone. Whereas you have to serve everyone in order to please God. And that you cannot. And then he went on to explain that the actual way to satisfy everyone is to satisfy Krishna, because Krishna is the supreme soul of everyone. He is the Paramatma. And he is, as this verse says, the root of all manifestation. And the examples, 2 examples are given in this verse. No, there is one example here, which is the tree example. If we water the tree at the root, however big the tree is, every single nook and corner of the tree will be nourished with that water. Because there is a whole system within the tree that from the root, it goes all the way up to every single branch, twigs, leaves, fruits and flowers. So this is the most effective way to serve the entire tree, however big it is. The size actually does not matter. And another example is given in here, 11 to 42. Srimad Bhagavatam 11 to 42. Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktir anyatra chaishatrika ekakala prapadyamanasya yathasnatah syus tushti pushti shudapayonughasam. Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. This is true for an individual level and community or national or international levels, any level, even universal levels. Um, Again, the same concept, the same idea, which is that however big the body is, whether it's the body of an ant or the body of an elephant, or even bigger creatures that are lurking in the water, say, for example, the blue whale, or any even bigger creatures in other planets. However big the creature is, the way to satisfy it is, or every single part, to nourish and strengthen every single part of that creature, is to supply food to the stomach. So there is a method by which every part can be satisfied. We cannot concoct our own way of watering the tree from the twigs or the leaves, or to feed the blue whale or the elephant, um, you know, just by injecting some food into the blood vessels directly. We can't concoct our own way of doing it. So there is fixed way of how to do it. Supply food to the stomach. So similarly, everyone wants happiness. Everyone wants to be satisfied. But we need to know the formula by which the whole society can be completely satisfied. And when we say society, we're not just talking about the human society, but also the animals. As today's verse it said, uh, 5, 15, 13. Yat prinanat barhishit deva tiriyan manushya viru trinam avirinchat. So you see, all these are different classes of living beings. Deva means the demigods. Tiriyan means below human beings. Manushya means human beings. Virut means plants and herbs. Trinam means grass. Trinadapi sunichena. So the trina means grass. A virincha. Virincha means Brahma. A Brahma bhuvana lokan. A virincha. Same thing. From Brahma down to the smallest creature, everyone will be satisfied automatically, if we satisfy God. Now, in the Bible, there was one Christian preacher whom I met many, many years ago. And so I was asking him that why do you eat meat? You should not eat meat because thou shalt not kill, one of your commandments. Why you should eat meat? So he showed some, because they have different versions of the Bible and they translate in their own way to suit their nefarious agendas. But anyway, he showed this part where it is said that God um, asked humans to enjoy the animals. So if that is the case, then do you enjoy your wife? I said, do you enjoy with your wife? Okay. So do you eat your wife? So what does mean? Enjoy means what? Enjoy does not mean eat. Why do you equate like that? That's a baby who does that. Babies who are in the Annamaya stage, who do not know any better, for them enjoyment means just eating. Everything goes into the mouth. That's how they work. This is Annamaya stage. So if enjoyment means eating, then why don't we, if you enjoy with your time with your children, then that means do you eat your children or what? So enjoy does not mean what? So their arguments degenerate with every argument, every single statement they deteriorate, and they say the animals have no soul. But then scientifically, if you study what is the symptom of a soul, there's not really any difference between the humans and the animals. Maybe the humans have more intelligence, but that does not mean they have the right. Just like there are many um, mentally handicapped people, they are not very intelligent. That does not mean we eat them. just because somebody is less intelligent. So, hmm? Beach? Beast. Oh. I mean, it's common sense. Of course, there is a soul there. That's why we have to understand these things scientifically. If the scriptures say there is soul, so then we have to study the symptoms of what is the symptom of the presence of the soul. Just like a rich man has symptoms, a sick man has symptoms. So a living man has symptoms, a living creature has symptoms. And any person with common sense can understand who has soul and who has not. Anyway, the point is, um, they do not think that enjoyment means everybody should be satisfied. There is a great effort by the governments to satisfy only the human beings, to satisfy the voter base, basically. If you see democracy, um, maybe 55% vote for one particular ruler and 45 for another. Now the 45% have to bear with the ruler whom they did not elect. And also, what is the merit of the opinions of anyone who is not actually enlightened with the aim of life, enlightened about the aim of life? They will vote for someone who will further their sense gratification, and in this way, um, the politicians, they try to satisfy their own senses, giving a facade of satisfying the people, but actually they are swindling them, especially so in Kali Yuga. But here, Maharaj Gaya is setting the example of how a king should rule. A king should rule in such a way, like Ramarajya, the kingdom of Lord Ram. What was special in his kingdom? People did not die until they wanted to, until they thought of dying. They did not even die. And not just the human beings, even the animals did not know what misery was. So that is what enjoying life with the lesser species means. Um, there can be many animals. Sometimes some vegan activists, they come up with this idea that, oh, we should not abuse the animals. Okay, fine, that's good. So we should not milk the cows. The cows, every species, the natural arrangement is that each species drinks its own mother's milk. The cows don't drink the tiger's milk, or the pigs don't drink the cow's milk, or the cats don't drink. Cats sometimes drink cows if they're left alone. But usually they drink their own species milk. So humans also should only drink their mother's milk until they are a certain age, and after that they should not drink any milk at all. And also, they have this other idea that we should not use the animals for our benefit. For example, we can't use them to till the land, or we can't use the horses for transport. We can't use the elephants. We can't use um, donkeys. Um, we can't use dogs. We can't use sheep because the wool, we are using. But if you see, or if we can't use honey because honeybees, they are sometimes attacked and killed even in the harvesting of the honey. And we should not eat avocados because there are bees which die. Apparently, I did not know, but the way they farm avocados, billions of bees die in the process. I don't know how they do it, what they do in the farming. What is that? You talking about honey? But why do the honeybees die in the extraction of the honey when they put smoke, and if the honeybees go away, then they can just take the honey, can't they?
No, they go stay inside and smoke, sleeping inside the hive. And you go up in the nap, but then sleeping always get drunk.
But is that the only way to take out honey?
Then when they pick it up.
Like I have seen in India where when there is a big hive on a tree, and when it's big enough, then they will call some guy who cuts it, maybe some fire or something. He just and then scares the bees away, and then cuts the hive and take the honey. I don't know. There's minimal killing there. I don't know. So, not very expert in farming, but even with avocados, there was this argument that a lot of billions and billions of bees get killed in the process. I don't know if that is the only way to harvest avocados, but either way, we should, if we argue like that animals are suffering because of us, then plants also have life. The vegans don't have an answer to this. They do have some answers which are very weak arguments, that it's not the same, you plucking a tomato and then, or you killing a chicken, it's not the same. Of course it's not the same. In many cases the violence is negligible, but of course there is violence sometimes. When the harvest is done, the plant is completely killed also, but also the rice, they only last for that long. That's another thing. But either way, the point is that if we try to argue on moral principles without the injunction of God, then we will always end up in a conundrum where we can't come out of it. Either way, it's some kind of how to say, imperfection or a taint. We cannot avoid violence either way, whether plant or animal. So therefore, we should only do what is sanctioned by the law. Silk, for example, vegans, they don't use silk because there's the silkworm which gets killed in the process. But then the Lord is offered silk cloth, and silk can be used by human society as enjoined by the Lord. Honey can be used. In fact, the Lord is bathed with honey as well. Abhishek. Milk, yogurt, butter, ghee, all these things, and things like paneer and different kinds of cheese. These are all, in fact, Krishna himself showed by his example that he was makhan chor. He used to eat butter or ghee. So we should follow what is given by Krishna. So vegetarianism, veganism, this is an imperfect understanding born out of an atheistic mindset. Theistic division of food is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, and shuddha sattva, which is prasadam. So sattvic can include non-vegetarian things. Honestly, ghee is not vegetarian. It doesn't come from any vegetable. Why we say it's vegetarian? It's not. But it's sattvic. Whereas tobacco, even though it is plant-based, it is tamasic. Same with ganja, or same with similar other things which are intoxicants like coffee. So it's not vegetarian or non-vegetarian because they are not very good demarcations of what is to be taken or not. The best way is to use everything in Krishna's service. So the animals by themselves don't have a chance to serve Krishna. Neither do the plants or herbs. But for example, this altar is made of wood, and this wood is coming from some trees. and that wood is carved and now it's serving the Lord. So those trees which gave this wood, they are serving, even though they have already taken on a different body, maybe many, many lives over, but their wood, which of a previous life, is being used for the service of the Lord, and so they are benefiting. In fact, if you see, the flowers only are used for one day, but the wood is standing for years and years, decades. So, how much it is serving the Lord, decorating the Lord's altar. So, in the same way, cotton can be used to stitch deity clothes. And we also, of course, we have to have clothes. So, if they are used in this way, where everyone is living a life of Krishna consciousness, then either by serving the Lord directly or by serving those who are serving the Lord, the plants are getting the benefit, either as food or flowers or fruits or wood or cotton or anything. Then there are animals. The wool. Wool is, of course, if you don't shear the sheep, it will overgrow and then the sheep will actually suffer and be suffocated even. So for cleanliness and for general upkeep, they are sheared. And then that wool is used sometimes, of course, for the deities, but many times for the human beings. And if the human beings are devotees, then that is service to the devotees, right? So the sheep also get benefit. Same for the cows or the bulls or horses. Like we went to Kumbh Mela, to the ISKCON camp. There was this Padayatra bullock cart, which travels all over India actually. And the bulls are there with the cart as well. And they go with these bulls everywhere, all over India. So how much service they're doing? Carrying Gaurnitai, Prabhupada, and the whole preaching. Town to town, village to village, they're going. Similarly, horses are used not only in the transportation, horseback riding or chariot, like pulling the chariot of passengers, or in the military. It's all biodegradable, not like huge pollutants. And then there are elephants which are used for ceremonious purposes, and also in the military. Then there are donkeys which are also used for transport by the washermen or any other, like they carry on the donkeys as well. So in that way the animals can be used in tilling of the land. So when they're used, it's not abuse. Abuse is when we use it for our sense gratification. But if the whole society under Maharaj Gaya or a king like him is channeled towards Haritoshanam, Ata Pumbir Vijasreshtha, Varnashrama Vibhagashaha, Sanashkitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So if the whole human society is divided into Varnashram system, then each of them in their own roles in the society satisfy Haritoshanam, satisfy Hari or Krishna. So in that way, when everybody is engaged in one way or the other, directly or indirectly, in the service of Krishna, then all the animals, all the plants, even the medicinal herbs, when they serve the devotees or the animals which serve the devotees. So servant of the servant of the servant. So that principle is engaged, and in that way, everyone, even birds are used. Like postal system was used to be with birds before. They used to carry the letter. Sometimes they use like that. And also birds, even if humans don't train them, by their own way, they transport seeds, because they eat and they pass through, and then they eat some fruits from one tree and then fly to a different place and then pass through there, and then the seed also gets dropped, and that's another tree there. So they do a lot of forestation and how to say, planting of trees, and that serves the whole ecosystem, right? So if everything is if especially the human society is God conscious, and then everyone else automatically benefits. Just the trees staying in the forest, creating a very uh, nice atmosphere for everyone. That is also a service, right? So they are serving the rest of the souls. And if the human beings, the leaders of all the souls on the earth, if they are ruled by a king who is a devotee, that's the perfect situation. We don't need to extraneously try for ecological balancing and global warming or some kinds of weird experiments as the scientists are doing nowadays, and drilling of oil from the ground. All these things are unnecessary. We don't even need um, paved roads, because the animals, the horses, or even humans, because our legs are there, we can just walk, or the animals can just walk. Of course, when there are chariots and all that, there is level ground, but there's no need of paved roads. Now, what these things we are, with industrial development, there are conveniences coming up, but the convenience is coming at the expense of a huge, disproportionate amount of inconvenience. Now, because we have a road, oh, we are satisfied. Oh, now roads are very, smooth and everything. Okay, and now you have to build the roads. Now you have to have more money. You have to extract the petroleum. The tar comes from there, and transport of big machines you need to bring the gravel and the cement and the sand and everything, just for having a way for us to go, which people used to do before with horses or horse pull carts. And if you go in the same road a lot, automatically nothing grows there and you can easily go. It's like a road there. So anyway, um, now it has come to a point where for a little bit of convenience, we have to take up inordinate amounts of inconvenience. And that is called Ugra Karma, horrible work. But this here, King Gaya, he satisfies Krishna and in one stroke satisfies everyone. And this is the reason why, now here it is said, of course, that Indra used to come and have Somarasa in his sacrificial performances. But why would he worship demigods like Indra? Well, actually, in Satyayuga, even though the demigods were sometimes propitiated, they were done so as part and parcel of Vishnu. There was full understanding that they are actually worshipping only Vishnu, the different parts of Vishnu. It is not done with this understanding that the demigods are separate entities from Vishnu, and that contamination of material desires was not there. Maharaj Gaya did not have it. He wasn't interested in any material benefits. So now Gaya is giving us the model in which a society should run, a government should run. And another verse which says, echoes the same principle, 8.5.49. Very good. Don't make noise. यथा हि स्कन्धशाखानां तरोर्मूलावसेचनम् एवमाराधनं विष्णोः सर्वेषामात्मनश्च हि. When one pours water on the root of a tree, the trunk and branches of the tree are automatically pleased. Similarly, when one becomes a devotee of Lord Vishnu, everyone is served, for the Lord is the super soul of everyone. Now, another verse, which is the other side of the coin. Here it is. Until now, we have seen those verses which say that if you serve Krishna, you serve everyone. Now, this says, if you serve Krishna, you don't need to serve anyone else separately, because you are my vessels. It's the same implication, but in a different way. It is said, Devarshi bhutapta niranam pitrinam naking karo nayam ranicha rajan sarvatmanayah sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. If you go to India, it's a big thing to satisfy the forefathers, to offer them pinda and shraddha. But all that is unnecessary if one is serving the Lord. It's unnecessary. And so this is the reason why Madhavendra Puri said this. Sandhya vandana bhadramastu bhavato bho snana tubhyam namo bho deva pitarascha tarpana vidho naham kshama kshamyatam yatra kvapi nishadya yadavakulo tamasya kam sadvisha smaram smaramadham harami tadalam manye ki manyena me. Oh, my prayers 3 times a day. This is called the Sandhya Vandana. Oh, Sandhya Vandana, all glory to you. Oh, bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. Oh, demigods, oh, forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. So, again, Madhavendra Puri is highlighting this point that if we serve Krishna, we don't need to serve anyone else. Everyone becomes automatically satisfied. Now, one may question, well, is that really true though? That if Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied? Okay, Shastra says yes. But if we practically see, there are many people who do not like. If we chant Hare Krishna, some people say, oh, this is noise pollution. If we are distributing books, they will argue with us. If we say Krishna is Supreme Personality of God, you are nonsense. There's a lot of people, who are Mayavadis, who are demons, who just oppose the Supreme Personality of God. They're not satisfied. In fact, the more we become religious or Krishna conscious, or we try to spread the holy name or the teachings, they don't like it. Why? All these slokas are saying everyone will be satisfied. Animals also satisfied. What to speak of, human beings? Everyone will be satisfied. But then why are some people dissatisfied? If everybody was satisfied, there should be no Kauravas, right? There should be no Kauravas. Why Kauravas are there? Who are dissatisfied, even though the Pandavas were serving Krishna. How to understand this? So, it is said like this, that a child, when he is given medicine, he does not like to take medicine. But if he takes the medicine, he will even eventually become cured and he will be able to enjoy life. He is suffering because he is sick. But when the medicine is given, he doesn't like it. He cannot correlate between the effect of the medicine and his state of enjoyment. He cannot correlate. He does not understand how the medicine, taking something in the mouth, which is maybe not so nice to taste, will affect him or benefit him. He is unaware. So just because the child throws a tantrum when medicine is being administered to him, does not mean that the medicine should not be administered. Eventually, the child will become happy when he takes the medicine and he gets cured. He just doesn't understand at this point because he's diseased or he doesn't have the intelligence to understand. But the ultimate effect, that he will be actually satisfied in the long run. So people who are childish, people who do not understand what is actually good for them, they think with a mistaken idea, because they don't have much intelligence, they think that they can be happy without God. And that is their... and if you see them, if we examine their lives, they're not actually happy. They're not happy. They're not satisfied. They're suffering, and it will continue until they come to accept and surrender to the Supreme Lord. Unless they do that, they cannot actually become happy. So therefore, to somehow or other induce them to somehow take the medicine. Sometimes demigod worship in the Vedas is enjoined. It's for the less intelligent people. They are not actually very intelligent. So this is the example. 11:21-23 Srimad Bhagavatam. Phala shrutiriyam nirnam nashreyo rochanam param shreyo vivakshaya proktam yatha bhaishajya rochanam. Those statements of scripture promising fruitive rewards do not prescribe the ultimate good for men, but are merely antecedents for executing beneficial religious duties, like promises of candy spoken to induce a child to take beneficial medicine. Now, if we say to the child, hey, you take this medicine, then I'll give you this candy. So he thinks the candy is the benefit, but actually the medicine is the benefit. The candy is just a device for him to take it, that's all, take the medicine. So the child does not understand this, and he thinks the candy is the real prize, but the good health is the real prize, which will eventually be the effect of the medicine. So similarly, demigod worship is sometimes recommended in the Vedas because, and the candy is like, I go to the heavenly planets, or I become happy in this life with a good wife or a good husband or nice children and some material wealth. Those are the candy for the less intelligent children. But the real medicine is that when we worship the demigods, we have to worship the Supreme Lord as well. And we should worship, we have to acknowledge the fact that this demigod is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And therefore, the offering is done to Vishnu and the share of the sacrifice is given to the Devata. So officially, we have to recognize the supremacy of Vishnu. And that is the real medicine in the whole process of getting a beautiful wife or a good husband or a wealth or something. Those are all candy for foolish people. But the real purifying thing is that they worship Vishnu, at least officially, even though not with much devotion. So such performances over many, many lifetimes will purify one, and one may come in contact with a pure devotee in such religious duties. One may eventually come in contact with a pure devotee, and that is the real purifying factor for the wandering soul. So that's the whole agenda of this demigod worship. But in Kali Yuga, we don't have that much time. And even the demigod worship and everything is just so flawed. Even those are not being carried out properly. I went, a little more than a year ago, my father passed away. And we were doing these rituals when my father passed away. And because after reading Prabhupada's books, now we have a little bit of understanding of Sanskrit. And as he was chanting the mantras, then I was trying to pay attention to what he was chanting. And, he was saying things like Godana, like cow, charities of cow. And then some water was thrown on some 1 rupee coin. And that is the representation of Godana. I said, you are saying Godana and then you are saying big charity to Brahmanas and all these things, but we are just sitting in one place and putting some water onto a coin. What is this? Well, who can do all these things? He was saying, who can do all these things? You just shortcut. So, and the mantras are chanted without any potency. The guy is drinking coffee and tea, and sometimes pan, gupka. What potency these will have? And they were chanting as we were doing some ritual. Three brahmanas chanting Upanishads, and we have to serve them tea and coffee. I said, no, nothing doing. We're not going to serve any tea and coffee. You drink milk or water, or you chant. So All these substandard, where this will go to the forefathers. Huh? So the Brahmanas are not qualified, mantras are not properly chanted, the place, time, paraphernalia, everything is so much defect is there. So even those processes are not done properly. So in Kali Yuga, nothing else will work. Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Aiva Kevalam, Kalavnasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva, Gatiranyatha. Only Harer Nam. So and it's the fastest way. And once we chant Krishna's name, even though some people may be disinterested or many people will be disinterested because they are not, um, they may not. They may not be pious enough to actually accept the whole process, but some people may like it, may take some time to take our books and eventually come to our programs or something. But even if the vast majority is not interested, doesn't matter. It will actually satisfy them. We should have the faith on this statement that if Krishna is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. But then when we see the practical effect that people are not satisfied when we do Krishna conscious stuff, that is because they are now just like the diseased person who takes the medicine but he still feels it as bitter, right? It's like that. Sat Krishna nama charita disitapya vidyapittopatattarasana narochikanu kintvadaradanu dinam khalu saiva jushta swadvikramad bhavati tadgadamula hantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya or ignorance cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So this is the thing. So if I have jaundice, even if I am given sugar candy, which is the medicine, I will still not feel sweet. I feel it as bitter because of my diseased condition. That does not mean my disease is not getting cured. It is getting cured. And if I take daily, by the fourth, fifth day, I will start to feel it as sweet. That means my disease, now I'm coming out of my disease. So we should be a little bit patient. It's not that they are not satisfied. The soul is actually satisfied. Even though they are absolute sinners, the soul will be satisfied eventually. Because neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasata dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little bit of advancement, even if they have heard Hare Krishna once, that is never gone in vain. It will come back to serve them when the time is right. And we also, now we are here chanting Hare Krishna. Do you think we just became devotees just like that? No. Many lifetimes ago, we might have, despised some devotees who were chanting. What are useless people? We must have said like that. But we might have heard something, some bhajan, some kirtan, we may have contributed something to someone. And now, after many lifetimes, now we are sitting here, we're discussing Bhagavatam. So everyone will take some time, but they are getting satisfied. And another example can be given, which is wood. Wood, which is just, if you cut off a tree and try to burn that wood, it will not burn. The wood has to be dry. Only then it will actually catch on fire. But if it's not dry, if we burn it, what will happen? Seemingly, on the surface, nothing happens actually. The wood doesn't burn. But we should know that it is getting drier and drier and drier. And when it's completely dry, it will catch on the fire. The fire will catch on. So there is effect that is happening. It may not be immediately visible to us. So therefore, we should again, coming back to this point, we have to have the faith that if we satisfy Krishna, everyone will be satisfied. Maybe not prayer, but definitely Shreya. Maybe not immediately they will not be satisfied. Like the child is never satisfied with studying. He just wants to play. But eventually if he studies, then he'll become he will have a good future. So similarly, then he will be satisfied. So similarly, if we take to Krishna consciousness, or even if somebody doesn't agree, it doesn't matter. Our thing is to just somehow or other inject against their will or with their will. We just have to somehow or other put our Krishna consciousness out there and let people interact with it. That's why Prabhupada, you see, pure devotees, they will go out and beyond their, out of their way to reach out. Why did Prabhupada challenge the scientific community with the moon landings or um, the evolution theory? Why did he do this? Does he get some sadistic pleasure of by defeating the scientists? Yeah, I won the argument. No, it is of course they are wrong, but it's not to just defeat them and show that we are right. It is to actually give them a chance to interact with Krishna consciousness philosophy with a subject matter that they are interested in. So this is preaching. We have to infiltrate all these topics that people speak about and channel them to Krishna. Prabhupada, he spoke with all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of professions, whether they be religious leaders or some government officers or scientists or just laymen, or students, everyone. He dealt with everyone and introduced Krishna consciousness to everyone. Because aham sarvasya prabhava, everything comes from Krishna. So therefore, any topic can be related to Krishna. A pure devotee knows aham sarvasya prabhava so strongly that he can connect any topic to Krishna. They may be interested in this, politics, for example. Krishna consciousness, you see, this particular verse says, Krishna conscious people don't talk about politics. You see, yatrottama shloka gunanuvada prastuyate gramya katha vikhatah nishevyamano nudinam mumukshor matim satim yachati vasudeve. Who are the pure devotees mentioned here? In an assembly of pure devotees, there is no question of discussing material subjects like politics and sociology. In an assembly of pure devotees, there is discussion only of the qualities, forms, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is praised and worshipped with full attention. In the association of pure devotees, by constantly hearing such topics respectfully, even a person who wants to merge into the existence of the Absolute Truth abandons this idea and gradually becomes attached to the service of Vasudeva. Now, politics and sociology are not discussed, but we are discussing Maharaj Gaya's activities, which are, yes, devotional, but also he was a king. Prinanad, all these, the previous verses, if you see, how he dealt with his citizens. You see, here, this verse, this is what is 5:15:7. Savaisva dharmena prajapalana poshana prinana upalalana anushasana lakshanena ijjadina cha bhagavati mahapurushe paravare brahmani sarvatmanarpita paramartha lakshanena brahmavit charananusevaya padita bhagavad bhakti yogena cha bhikshnashaha paribhavitadi shuddhamatir उपरतानात्म्य आत्मनि स्वयं उपलभ्यमान ब्रह्मात्मानुभवोपि निरभिमान एवावनिम अजूगुपत. See here, prenana, what is all this? Prajapalana, protecting the subjects. Poshana, maintaining them. Prenana, making them happy in all respects. Upalalana, by treating them as sons. Anushasana, sometimes chastising them for their mistakes. You see, Lakshanena, Ijjadina. You see what he's doing. Is this not sociology? King Gaya gave full protection and security to the citizens so that their personal property would not be disturbed by undesirable elements. He also saw that there was sufficient food to feed all the citizens. This is called Poshana. He would sometimes distribute gifts to the citizens to satisfy them. This is called Prenana. He would sometimes call meetings and satisfy the citizens with sweet words. This is called Upalalana. He would also give them good instructions on how to become first-class citizens, Anushasana. Such were the characteristics of King Gaya's royal order. So is this not politics, sociology? It is. How to deal with your citizens. Why are we discussing? Well, the Bhagavad Gita was politics, Mahabharata. So much family politics. Why are we discussing? Because Krishna is involved. So should we not discuss other politics? Well, we can infiltrate any subject in this world, even of current politics, for example, and give the example of how actual politics should be. If the ruler is Krishna conscious, in if you see the first canto, 16th chapter, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned so much about how a king should rule over the citizens. In great detail, he describes how politics should be conducted. But because it is in conjunction with following Krishna's instructions, therefore it is worth it. So everything, and even for example, cosmology. Now, next chapter, in a few verses, we will start the cosmology section of the fifth canto. Now, that is geography, of different planets and astronomy, whatever. Is that not a material subject? Why are we interested? We are not, because we are not interested. What is material, first of all? We should understand what is material and what is spiritual. ऋतेर्थम यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विद्याद आत्मनो मायाम यथा भासो यथा तमः. This is material. Whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be in darkness. But what is not related to him? If it is without relation to me, he is saying, what is not related? Aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything is related to him because he is the origin. Then what is this without relation to me? It is when in our heads, the Maya is only in our head, in our minds, that this is not related to Krishna. And that non-relation to Krishna has the other side of the coin, which is, it belongs to me, or it belongs to people. We want to gratify our senses with that, whatever it is. If that is used in Krishna's service, then it immediately becomes spiritualized. So a pure devotee, his vision is, he sees everything in relation to Krishna. Yomam pashyati sarvatra. Sarvam chamai pashyati. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Thavar jangam dekhe, na dekhe tar murti, sarvatra hoy nija ishta deva spurti. Even though the pure devotee sees the non-moving and moving things in this world, he actually does not see their forms. He sees his Supreme Lord everywhere. So he sees everything in relation to Krishna. Therefore, nothing is material for him. Actually, there is nothing material because everything is Krishna's. Just like police, it is a force of protection or a force of punishment. Both. It depends on my disposition. If I am a thief, then I will fear the police. If I am an honest citizen, I will feel comforted by the presence of the police. Oh, the police are there, okay, I am safe. For the thief, the police are there, I am in danger. So, for the materialist, Maya is dangerous. For the devotee, the Maya is actually Yoga Maya. It's protective. Because everything he sees, he uses it in Krishna's service and sees it in relation with Krishna. So politics or sociology or anything can be dovetailed into Krishna's service. And it is not that we are only concerned with Maharaj Gaya's politics or Pandava's politics, but today's politics we are not concerned. No, we should be concerned. In the sense that we should give the proper guidance on what actually politics is. And we should see how politics without Krishna consciousness is detrimental to the society. We should be able to see that. Shastra means not simply on Bhagavatam class and after that we forget about Shastra. We should see everything in relation with Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the point why, that is the reason why we are learning all these things. Not that they are divorced. Bhagavatam is for Bhagavatam class only. The shloka says that everybody is satisfied when Krishna is satisfied, so we will just satisfy Krishna. Okay, that's fine. But we should question why is everybody not satisfied. Pariprashnena should be there. We are not challenging the Shastra, but we should question to clarify our understanding of the Shastra. Just like when Arjuna was told by Krishna, I spoke to the sun god and sun god spoke to his son, his son, his son. Eventually it became lost and now I am repeating the same thing. Then he was going on. Arjuna asked, wait a minute, what? You spoke to sun god. What are you saying? Did he challenge Krishna in that? No. He inquired definitely to understand, to seek more clarification. on how did he speak to sun god if he was so much older, so many millions of years older? How did you speak to him? Then Krishna clarified, oh, many births both you and I have taken, but I remember you don't. Oh, then and a different birth, and he remembers everything. So another glory of Krishna became manifest because of that question, because now we know that Krishna does not forget any number of lives he may take. That knowledge we would not have had if Arjuna did not ask the question, right? We should accept Shastra without questioning. That is true. That does not mean we don't question anything at all. Arjuna asked so many questions. Bhagavatam is full of questions. Even when Krishna is explaining, Arjuna asked, what is the symptom of a transcendentalist? How to understand? And then he said, after second chapter, third chapter, he asked, you're asking me sometimes to work and sometimes not to work. What do you mean? What should I do? Question. He's not challenging the authority of the Shastra. Pariprashnena. Pariprashnena does not need to stop if we surrender. In fact, pranipatena, pariprashnena sevaya. There has to be pariprashna. Constantly, in fact, to gain a more understanding about the subject. That's how we get knowledge. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Jigyasa should be there. Otherwise, we are dead. We are not understanding anything. Like Arjuna also asked in the, we read in the Bhagavad Gita many times that doubt is not good when applied to scripture. We should not have doubt. But if I am not clear, I need to ask a question. The doubt has to be clarified. It's not that I should not have doubt means I should never ask. No, I should ask. Like in the 6th chapter, Arjuna asks, this is my doubt, O Krishna, that if somebody takes to Krishna consciousness and after some time gives it up, what will happen to that person? Spiritually also he is not successful. Materially also he has given up so many years of his life in Krishna consciousness. Now he does not have a job, does not have money, this and that. So materially also not successful, spiritually not successful. What will happen to him? It's a doubt. So does that mean just because Arjuna asked that question, he is doubting the process of Krishna consciousness? Not. But he wants to understand more how it will affect. And Krishna answered then. Then we get perspective. Oh, okay. So even if he so-called fails in this life, it doesn't matter because we only think of success or failure in this life. Even if this life is totally failure, never mind. Lifetime after life, next life he will start from where he stopped. So he's explaining. So success, when Krishna is defining success, it spans many lifetimes. How much patience. So even if in this life, whole life, he did not become a devotee again. And also he spent so much time in temple life and after that he left. He looks like a failure. One day he died, suppose. What was his real success? It does not look like. But again, we forget this thing that we span among many, we are eternal. So success will happen over many lifetimes. So we will definitely succeed. That's for sure. So that's why we have to have full faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nischay. 2262. श्रद्धा शब्दे विश्वास कहे सुदृढ़ निश्चय कृष्ण का भक्ति कोयले सर्व कर्म कृतः. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. I mean, the classic example of we always discuss in our Ritvik argument, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by his guru Ishwar Puri to accept Ishwar Puri's servant as his own servant. Now, Guru gave an order, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is questioning. He's having a doubt. He questions Sarvam Bhattacharya. How can I accept my Guru's servant as my servant? So that's a valid question. But you should obey the Guru, right? Without questioning. Why did he question? So to understand the order, so that he can actually properly uh, carry out the order. So that is intelligence. Pariprashna should be there. Jignasa should be there. That's why it is said here, last verse before we close. सिद्धांत बोलिए चित्ते ना करो अलस इहा होते कृष्ण लागे सुदृढ़ मानस. A sincere student should neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial. You see, a sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, but for such discussions strengthen the mind. Thus, one's mind becomes attached to Sri Krishna. A significant point in this inquiry, when we question things like this, to deepen our understanding, one thing we should be very clear: we should not doubt the statement of the Shastras, but we should question how the Shastras are true, how this statement is true, how to understand that this statement is true when my experience tells me something else. So that clarification we should seek. How is this true? Just like when Krishna said, I spoke to sun god, Arjuna did not say, I don't think you spoke to sun god. He did not reject what Krishna said. He said, how am I to understand that you spoke to sun god? So he's not rejecting the premise that he spoke to sun god, but he's asking, how am I to understand when the timeline does not match? How am I to understand? Can you please clarify that? Then, so the conclusion is not rejected, is not doubted. It is to be accepted, but we should seek how it is true. That is the proper way to inquire. So, all right, we will stop it here. Any questions or comments on this verse? Nothing? Okay. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद.